Yeah.
Good morning, students. Sorry for the few minutes we have lost. I would like you to look at that document that you have with you, because today we are going to remind ourselves of the summary writing. We have a passage there that we have to look at. I would like us to go through it. Remember, we are supposed to read this passage twice. Let us go through it by reading it together, reading this passage together. The title for the passage is Drill 1. Job hopping can be exciting, but it will suffocate and kill your career. We begin by asking ourselves the job hopping, but I think let us read on and see whether when we read, we get to understand what the writer means by job hopping. The first paragraph goes, Patrick is an ambitious young man who has worked in 4 different organizations in the past 6 years. Because he has a network of friends in the corporate world, he's always talking about new job openings that he applies for and is recruited. However, 6 months ago, he was retrenched when the last organization he worked for was downsizing. From that time, he has applied for several jobs and done a couple of interviews in vain. Patrick's problems may be that recruiters don't trust him, given his record of job hopping. Although the cause of job hopping vary from person to person, experts say it is a bad practice. Joseph Musalo, a counselor at Uganda Christian University, says some people quit when the job does not meet their expectations or is seen as boring. For some, intimidation or harassment affects them socially and psychologically, causing them to quit. Some people job hop because they do not know what they actually want, or maybe because they did not know what they were getting into and were therefore not prepared for the challenges. Although job hopping may seem exciting and adventurous, the effects on one's career can be grave. Carol Mwesige, a career consultant, says job hopping eventually limits an individual's chance of getting employed. This is because many organizations that have training programs for their employees will not want to invest time and money training individuals with an unstable track record. Nowadays, you don't need to stay with an employer for decades, and it's expected that you will somehow change jobs. But the important element is whether you are likely to contribute to the firm within the time you are with them, says Tony Leonard, a senior trainer at the Institute of Advanced Leadership. If you leave in less than a year or 2, then the employer may be investing more in you, getting you up to speed, having you settle and learn how things are done, than he's getting from having you on board. As a result, another employer is likely to hire you if you are the kind that is restless. To many organizations, a record of job hopping sends a signal that one is not willing to contribute back into the company, says Mwesige. Leonard says employers want a level of loyalty and is you are seen as disloyal and unreliable. you risk becoming unemployable. Experts say go-getters who never stabilize on a particular job usually cause their professional and personal relationships to suffer. Changing jobs also raises questions about one's mental stability. If an employee wants to climb the corporate ladder quickly, it is advisable to look for internal promotions before seeking external changes. Most importantly, make sure you can demonstrate that wherever you've worked, you've contributed positively in a way. Lennart advises experts advise workers to commit to an organization for at least 2 years. This passage is adapted from the New Vision, 1st November 2010, volume 25, number 214, page 35. And we look at the task here. What are we supposed to do? After reading for the first time, then we have to look at the question, because we have to do a second reading and underline the areas that we feel are answers to the question that is said to us. So the task here says, in not more than 110 words, summarize the reasons for and dangers of job hopping or frequent changing of jobs. Now I want us to go back to the passage. We first looked at the title and asked ourselves, what does job hopping mean? It means moving from one job to another. Now, when you look at the task in the passage, we see the disadvantages of moving from one job to another, and reasons why people move from one job to another. And that is exactly what the task requires us to do. So when you look at the passage here, we are supposed to do a second reading. Never look at the question first and then read, because this will corrupt you into only looking at answers and not understanding what the whole passage is all about. It is therefore advisable you read the passage without looking at the task for the first time, and then you do your second reading having looked at the task and underlining what you think are areas that do answer the question. It makes it a little easier because you will have picked the idea behind the passage that is given to you. Now, we have already gone through the passage and we have seen why people move from one job to another, the problems it will cause, not only to the person but even to the organization, because somewhere in the passage they say this organization might have spent some time and money trying to train you, and by the time you catch up with a job, you are jumping to another organization. It will only be that organization where you're going that will benefit. This organization will have lost. So employers do not want people who move from one job to another because they seem not to benefit from them after investing in them. So, and this also, when you look at the passage, it also ruins your record, your track record. With organizations, when you move from one to another, they usually request for a recommendation letter. Now, obviously, some of these bosses know each other. So, this one might be in position to tell the employer where you're going that you're quite unstable. And this will end up ruining you, and you end up not getting any job, like we have seen Patrick here in these last paragraphs happens to lose his job, and he's finding it so hard to get another job. But we had already seen him moving from one job to another because of the various reasons that have been given in the passage that we have with us. Now we assume what we are going to do next is to do what we would call our second reading. But it is advisable for us to do the second reading again, having looked at the question, and because we are yet to write our rough copy, we will now transfer what we look at as our points here to the rough copy. Now, because we are going to write a rough copy, remember the rough copy should carry a title with it. And the title is not formulated from the title of the passage, but the title is formulated from the task that has been given to us. I always tell you that underline the key areas in the question. When you look at our questions, at our question here, the key area, number one key area is 110 words, because we have to put into consideration the word limit and we have to work within the word limit, which means you underline 110 words. You also ask yourself, what do they want me to do? According to the question here, they want us to summarize. Now, some of us find it so hard to formulate a title here, but I say, when you ask yourself, what does the examiner or the setter of this question, according to the passage, want? The answer is, this person wants us to summarize. You are aware, sometimes we are required to summarize. Some questions will require you to explain. There are questions that will also require you to describe. The way we handle these summaries that carry the directing word there is quite different. Now, our question here gives us the easiest, that is to summarize. And we are aware summarizing means to make brief. Here we hit the nail on the head. We do not have Lugambo. We only have to present our answer there. If the question was explain, then we would see how explain requires us not only to look at the point, but to also add information there that makes things very clear. Because when you look at the dictionary, the word explain there means to make clear. There's a difference making brief and then making clear. So if it requires us to explain, we have to shorten the message, but at the same time make it as clear as possible. Making it clear does not mean you write everything that you see here, because this is a summary task. The information is compressed. There's still a particular area that the examiner is interested in, and that is basically what we have to present. Not everything, otherwise we shall end up failing to work within the given word limit. Now, if they are telling us to summarize, ask yourself, summarize what? Now, what will give us the answer is actually going to turn out as our title. What are we supposed to summarize? We are supposed to summarize the reasons for and dangers of job hopping or frequent changing of jobs. So that means even if this title seems to be very long, do not mind about the length of the title, so long as it carries what they want. Now, this whole part of what we are supposed to present is supposed to come out as our title. And because it begins with the article, we cannot run away from the article. If you are to write your heading, leaving out that article, then you will end up losing a mark. Remember, we are supposed to present the title in capital letters. So we write the reasons for and dangers of job hopping or frequent changing of jobs. Now, I hope you are also trying out this summary together with me, because we are supposed to work it out and see what will come out at the end of the day. Now, the title is supposed to be capital letters, and it is supposed to be underlined. So from the task here, we have formulated our title, and we are going to do our second reading. Your job would be to underline, but here, because we are working together, we are going to read a paragraph, and then we check whether it has anything that we need, and then we scribble it down in what we are going to call our rough copy. This is the rough, and we are meant to work out the final copy finally. Now, when we got to the first of all, the reasons. I said do not forget this title. If you are to present this this title without the article, then they would deduct a mark before we even begin scoring. The article has to be there. The moment it is missing, that means you have formulated a very wrong title for this summary, and they penalize you for that. You can imagine somebody deducting before you have already scored. Now, when we get into the summary, we have to look for reasons for. When we look for reasons for, that means we are looking for reasons why people have to move from one job to another. And then we also have to look at the dangers of changing jobs. Now, when you look at this task here, it has two areas that we are supposed to handle. It has reasons why people move, and it also has dangers, which means we are handling two aspects here. But much as there are two, remember the rules of summary writing. This has to come out in only one paragraph. We only have to present one paragraph. You don't have to draw two paragraphs here or more than one. Otherwise, when you do that, remember every point you give, even if it is right, it will end up earning you only half a mark. And because we have two aspects to handle, as we read, we also note that we have reasons and we have dangers. Even if in the passage they present to us a reason and then a danger, reason and a danger. When it comes to writing it down, we don't write the summary in that kind of manner. We have to deal with one first, exhaust it, and then move to the next one. So we have to deal with reasons for and make sure we have exhausted all of them. And then later on, we shall now go to the dangers. And we have to reflect this in our passage that we have moved from the reason, and now what we are handling are actually dangers. Now let us go to the first paragraph and look at it together. Patrick is an ambitious young man who has worked in 4 different organizations in the past 6 years. Because he has a network of friends in the corporate world, he's always talking about new job openings that he applies for and is recruited. However, 6 months ago, he was retrenched when the last organization he worked for was downsizing. From that time, he has applied for several jobs and done a couple of interviews, but in vain. Now, the first paragraph, when you look at it, does it give us any reason or does it give us any danger? I want us to focus on, because he has a network of friends in the corporate world, why does he move from one job to another? To me, I think this is a reason. Because Patrick has a network of friends in the corporate world. So when somebody has that network, he has the ability to change from one job to another. And he finds it so easy. So when we come to underlining reason why we have Patrick moving from one job to another, that is why he has to move from one job to another. And then they say, however, 6 months ago, he was retrenched when the organization he worked for was downsizing. Is it as a result of him moving from one job to another? From that time, he has applied for jobs, but and had done a couple of interviews. This could be a reason, but I am ignoring it because having gone through the passage, you realize somewhere they hint at the same in a more direct manner to show the dangers of job hopping. So in that case, we are ignoring what comes in the first paragraph, but taking note. If you have not noted the point that comes later on, that is when you buy this. But when you buy this, you have to rephrase it to sound appropriate or to sound as an answer when it comes to the job, because it hints at the dangers. So we reshape, reframe, we resentence. Now, why bother ourselves when later this same point comes out very direct and no one doubts it that it is actually an answer to the question that we are looking at? So you realize that in the first paragraph, we have already seen reason why, and that is what we are looking for. We have underlined that. We shall come down to write. Now we move to the second paragraph. The second paragraph there, Says Patrick's problems may be that recruiters don't trust him given his record of job hopping. Although the causes of job hopping vary from one person to another, experts say it is a bad practice. I want you to take note that that particular sentence, just like other passages that we shall meet when it comes to summary writing, there's always a statement that gives you hints that we are getting into the zone that is fertile for the answers that we are looking for. So wherever you read the passage, take note of statements that drive you into the answer. Now, this statement is kind of alerting us that we are getting into the fertile zone where our answers are. Because it says, although the causes of job hopping vary from person to person, experts say it is a bad practice, which means they are going to talk about it here. And they say Joseph Musalo, as counselor at Uganda Christian University, says some people quit when the job does not meet their expectation. Or is seen as what? Boring. And when you look at that statement there, I think it answers why do people have to change from one job to another? Because they do not meet their expectations. Some jobs don't meet their expectations, and the job is seen as what? Boring. They also go ahead to give us the reasons. For some, intimidation or harassment affects them socially and psychologically, causing them to quit. Which means in the first and second paragraph, we have come up with some of the reasons as to why people quit jobs. And we can now write them down in our rough copy. But remember, with summary writing, we have to begin with the subject. Now, when you look at the question, you realize that our subject here is job hopping. And the subject has to come in the very first sentence, because if the subject is not in the first sentence, then that means we are going to be marked out of a half. Our scores will be given a half, because people will not know what exactly you are dealing with the moment you leave out the subject. So you make sure that the subject is there. This subject could be placed at the start of the sentence, or it could be placed at the end of that opening sentence. We also have to note another thing. The reasons for and dangers of job hopping. Does the task give us tense? Because we have to work within the tense. The tense, we either find it in the question that has been set, or we find the tense in the passage. Now, when you look at the task here, summarize the reasons for and dangers of job hopping, you realize that the task does not have a tense in it. And because it does not have a tense in it, we go by the tense in the passage. When you look at our point number 1, reason why people move from one job to another, it says here, because he has a network of friends in the corporate world. He is always talking about, look at, he has, the next point says, people quit when the job does not meet their expectations and is seen as boring. Now that one has already reflected the tense that we are supposed to use, and I hope you agree with me that the tense in the passage is the present tense. And we have to maintain that, because if you present in another tense, that is where we begin losing our marks. So we go to the subject, that is job hopping. People job hop because they have a network of friends in the corporate world. So we say with a paragraph that is indented and said people job hop. We have to use a hyphen. People job hop because they have friends in the corporate world. In the corporate world, And what do the friends do? They enable them. Not because they have friends, because they have a network of friends. The word network there is very important. They have a network. So when we write a network of friends, there, I think it embraces the networking. And we know when we talk about networking, what it leads to. It avails the job to you. Now, job hope is there as a subject. The tense is there, they have. Here they talk about Patrick, but Patrick is a representation of many people here. Reasons for job hopping. So, I think we are done with the first point. But in the second paragraph, we also realize here, they say, people quit when the job does not meet their expectations. People job hop because they have friends in the corporate world. They also, we put our full stop because if we say they, the they here will require us to use a full another sentence. There's they there, which is the subject. If you use comma here and you say they, then they will query your punctuation. Let us use a full stop here and begin another sentence. They quit due to failure. They quit because if we use due to, it might not give us what they quit because the job does not meet their expectations. Does not meet their expectations. Yes. Or is seen as boring. Or is seen, the writer has not said, or is, so maintain the word seen there, or is seen as boring, because that is another point. Or is seen as boring. The expectation bit of it is a point. Even the boring bit of it is another reason as to why people quit. But for some, intimidation or harassment affects them socially. Now here, we can use a comma. They quit because of intimidation, boring. Intimidation, so we bring in intimidation or harassment. Intimidation or harassment, which affects them socially and psychologically. Say that is socially and psychologically causing them to quit. We don't need causing them to quit because it is already there and we have to limit our. So we can use a full stop here. Why are we using a comma here? Because even in the presentation, you realize these points are kind of flowing into one another. And we cannot all the time keep on creating a full sentence, because if we do, we shall not be able to beat the word limit. So we create breakages. Why did I say they quit? Because intimidation or harassment, which affects them socially, because of intimidation. They quit because of intimidation or harassment, which affects them socially and psychologically. If you want to check whether your sentence is complete, the subject is here. They quit because, then come to that part where you have put the comma. Otherwise, sometimes you use these breaks, but the information you have put here so kind of remains hanging. It looks a little incomplete. To make it complete, we keep checking ourselves, and I've shown you how you're supposed to check. They quit because intimidation or harassment affects them socially and psychologically. So we move to the next paragraph. Some people job hop because they do not know what they actually want. What are we looking at? Reasons. I think we have come across another reason. Why do they job hop? Because they do not know what they actually want. So we say, people job hop. People job hop because. Why are we overusing because? Remember reasons. The reason answers why, and we usually use what? Because. They job hop because they do not know what they actually want. They do not know what they actually want. We use our comma there and see whether we shall get another one to do with the reasons. They do not know what they want, maybe because they do not know what they were getting into and where. So I hope you see that is another reason. They do not know what they want. Sometimes they do not know what they are getting into and where. So they job hop because they do not know what they want, or did not know what they were getting into and where. They did not know the job and where it was maybe taking them. Do we have another reason? Therefore, not prepared for challenges. Not being prepared for challenges is another one. So we say, we complete that. Therefore, not prepared for challenges. Full stop. We have a point here, we have a point here, and we have another one there. In that one sentence, we have 3 points that give us reasons why people job hop. So we go to the next one. Although job hopping may seem exciting and adventurous, the effects on one's career can be grave. Although job hopping may seem exciting and adventurous, the effects on one's career can be grave. What you have to say about although job hopping may seem exciting and adventurous? Do people job hop because they find it exciting and adventurous? Is that reason? I wish somebody, they say, although some people may seem, although job hopping may seem exciting and adventurous. Don't you think some people do it because to them it is exciting and adventurous? So that could be a reason. So we wrap up and say what they were getting into. Some find it, some find it exciting and adventurous. Some people find it exciting and adventurous. So on that note, we are done with reasons why people job hop. He said the effects on one's career can be grave. I told you that in the passage, there's always a statement that will alert us we are getting into a fertile zone as far as the task is concerned. We looked at the statement that was driving us into the reasons for job hopping. And now, remember, we have to look at the dangers. And here we have in the passage a statement that says, the effects on one's career can be grave. Effects, I think they are now taking us to what? To dangers. So we open our eyes and ears and we listen and see whether there is anything here for us to consider. The paragraph that comes next says, this is because many organizations that have training programs for their employees will not want to invest time and money training individuals with an unstable track record. The effect is because organizations will not want to invest time and money training individuals with an unstable track record. When you look at that, it looks at a danger to the company, not a danger to the individual. The danger to the company is that companies waste time and money training individuals, but these individuals have unstable track record. I want us to first ignore that area, and then we see what comes next. Does it relate to that? They say nowadays you don't need to stay with an employer for decades, and it's expected you'll somehow change jobs. But the important element is whether they are likely to contribute to the firm within the time you are with them, says Tony Leonard, a senior trainer at the Institute of Advanced Leadership. If you leave in less than a year or two, then the employer may be investing more in you, getting you up to speed, having you settle and learn how things are done, than is getting from having you on board. As a result, another employer is likely to hire you if you are the kind that is restless. Do you realize that the fact that they have to inject a lot of money in you is a point, a danger to the company, because they say reasons for job hopping and dangers of what? Job hopping. So the dangers could be to an individual and the dangers could be to a company. So I think we consider the fact that job hopping is dangerous. Remember, because it is one paragraph. When we are done with the first part, we do not immediately present the points without alerting whoever is going to read our summary that we have now gone into the second part of the task. There has to be some few words here or a statement that reflects that we have entered the second part of the question. So we are going to say job hopping is dangerous. There, job hopping is dangerous, or its dangers include. If we say its dangers include, because we have been talking of job hopping, I think it is a shorter statement than the one we have used. We say it's. But if we say its dangers include, if we are going back into listing, sorry, let us not use that. Remember, I told you we do not say include. If we use include, we shall be required to use the semicolon, and the semicolon requires us to list, which is not acceptable. So we cannot say its dangers are, that is wrong. Its dangers include, its dangers are the following. We desist from doing that, so we say job hopping. Let us go back to where we started. Job hopping is dangerous. It is dangerous. Can you reframe the statement? Because it is time wasting. It is both time and money wasting to the organization. Dangerous because it is both time and money wasting. It is money wasting to the organization. To the organization. We move to the next paragraph and see what they have to say. To many organizations, a record of job hopping sends a signal that one is not willing to contribute back to the what? To the company. Is that a point as a danger? It sends a signal that one is not willing to contribute back into a company. I think that is As a result, another employer is likely to hire you if you are the kind that is restless. To many organizations, a record of job hopping sends a signal that one is not willing to contribute back. If you have a record of job hopping, it will be disadvantageous to you because it will send a signal that you are one person that does not feel like contributing back to the company. Like we say, the company has wasted time and money in trying to shape you into what they want. So I feel this is another what? Danger. So we include that and say, and remember it is related to the time and money wasting. So we are saying, it sends a signal that one is not sends. It is dangerous because it sends a signal that one is not willing to contribute back. The word back is very important. Back into the company. So they'll say, now this one who does not want to contribute back into the company, why should we employ him or her? So we go on and see whether, Leonard says employers want a level of loyalty and is you are seen as disloyal and unreliable. You risk becoming unemployable. So I think that is another danger. Job hopping paints a picture of you being disloyal and unreliable. It paints a picture of one appearing disloyal and reliable. It paints a picture of one appearing of one being disloyal and unreliable, therefore not employable. Said therefore not employable. When you continue here, they say, experts say go-getters who never stabilize on a particular job usually cause their professional and personal relationships to suffer. So here, we remove the full stop and continue. We have seen another danger. The moment you are one person that keeps job hopping, it is going to affect you in the sense that your professional and personal relationship will suffer. So we are saying, therefore, not employable. Professional, we say professional and personal relationship or relationships suffer. Because of job hopping, your personal and professional relationships suffer. Full stop. Changing jobs also raises questions about one's mental stability. Remove full stop. Because remember, when we are looking at the rules of summary, we said we are permitted to use a maximum of 2 commas in a sentence. The moment you go beyond the 2 commas, half a mark. And when you look at our sentence here, it paints a picture of one being disloyal and unreliable, therefore not employable. Professional and personal relationships suffer. We can use another comma because we already have 1 comma. And we want to end the sentence by talking about the issue of mental stability. They say changing jobs also raises questions about one's mental stability. So we say raises questions and raises. Let us not use a comma, let us use and. And we say and raises questions about your mental stability. People begin questioning whether you are mentally stable. Why do you have to keep moving from one job to another all the time? Maybe you have a problem here. Maybe you are mentally unstable. So when we move on, we move to the next paragraph and see changing jobs also raises questions about one's mental stability. The last one, if an employer wants to climb the corporate ladder quickly, it is advisable to look for internal promotions before seeking external changes. Most importantly, make sure you can demonstrate that wherever you've worked, you've contributed positively in a way. Leonard advises experts advise workers to commit to an organization for at least 2 years. And then our passage ends there. I hope we have included all the points there that are presented in the passage. They talk about job hopping, limiting your chances of getting employed. Here we say unreliable and therefore not employable. So this is a danger. Unreliable. Somebody might think that the points do end in here. Being disloyal and unreliable. And therefore not employable. So you are unreliable, it makes you unreliable, it makes you disloyal, and at the same time, it makes it so hard for one to employ you. You at the end of the day become unemployable. Let us get to what we have written down, and then we check out. After you writing your rough copy here, you have to check out whether you have done the right thing. You have to keep in mind the rules of summary writing that we always talk about. Do we have the title in capital letters and underlined? Yes, our rough copy has that, because it is going to guide you into framing the final one. This is not our final work, but we are going to shape our final work from here after checking whether even the words we are within the given word limit. Now, when you look at this, we have our title. We said the other rule we know about summary writing is that a maximum of 2 commas should come in the sentence. The other rule we know about summary writing is that we should always begin with the subject. The opening sentence should have the subject, either at the start or at the end. And indeed, that is what we did. We also know that when we are writing summaries, much as we are compressing information, but the points we present there have to appear in a full sentence. You do not only throw a phrase of words there that at the end of the day will not make sense, much as those words are answering the question. If you do that and then we read the sentence and it is not in a complete statement, what is done to you, instead of getting a full mark here, you end up getting half a mark. One thing that creates problems as far as summary writing is concerned to you students is the fact that the presentation becomes a problem. We have to master how we are supposed to present the summary if we are going to benefit from it, because this is an area that gives us marks. We have the answers right in the passage. We are not going to think about the answers there. All we have to do is to open eyes and see the answers as presented in the passage, and then we present them in our summary. Therefore, this section that is supposed to earn us 20 out of the 60 for paper 2 should be done thoroughly well, because when we talk about passing your paper 2, the passing of paper 2 begins with the summary writing. In most cases, it empowers you to move to better grades there. If you fail with the summary, things become very hard, because we have other sections that are even more teasing, where somebody is even unsure of what they are writing. And that is when we get to the grammar bit of it in the rewrite section and the last bit that has alternatives. So why not exploit this area fully and ensure that we have very good marks that will help lift our final grade at the end of the day when we have worked out solutions to the tasks that have been given us in this particular area. Now, when you look at the subject, then we talked about the rules, the title, and what it carries. The subject, we talked about the tense. These things you have to master. Not title, not subject has to be there. Not tense has to be there. Not the issue of commas. How many commas do I have to use? Not the fact that this work has to be presented in one paragraph. Here we do not have more than 2 questions. If we had A and B, then we would have 2 paragraphs. But here we have only 1 question, and the question is saying, in not more than 110 words, summarize the reasons for and dangers of job hopping. And therefore, because it is one task given to us, much as it has 2 parts in it, it only has to appear in 1 paragraph. So not those key areas, because they are guidelines as far as your presentation is concerned. The moment you defy these ones, then you are likely to get very miserable marks here, because they lead to great penalty. You are always penalized for defying any of what we have talked about: the title, the subject, the tense, the commas, the paragraphs, and then the full sentence says. The full sentence says. Let your sentences be in full. Are you using the right tense? This is very important, and make sure you have mastered this. Keep it always at the back of your minds when you are working out a summary task, because they have to be put into great consideration. Now, when you go to our task here, we started by talking about people job hop because they have friends in the corporate world. People job hop because they have friends in the corporate world. So, you know, when we are ticking, that is, I am trying to check the points so far. That is one reason. Why do people move from one job for another? Reasons. That is the why. So we are saying people job hop because why do we have unemployment in Uganda? If the task was, why do we have unemployment in Uganda? Then your opening sentence with the subject, you will say, unemployment exists in Uganda because, that means you are giving us the reason. So this also, the because here emphasizes the fact that what we are giving are reasons for job hobby. So we have because they have friends in the corporate world. They have a network of friends in the corporate world. So we say they quit because job hopping means moving from one job to another. They quit, so people job hop because the job does not meet their expectations. That is, or is seen as boring. That is number 3. Intimidation or harassment. Being intimidated is one thing, and being harassed is another. They are different. You cannot say that intimidation is harassment. No. Intimidation or harassment. One might decide to harass you at the job. Another one might decide to intimidate you. So we have intimidation or harassment, which affects people socially and psychologically. We are affected socially and psychologically. People job hop because they do not know, that is another reason, what they actually want, and did not know what they were getting into, that is another one, and were therefore not prepared for the challenges, that is another one. Some people find it exciting and adventurous. These are 2 in 1. Then job hopping is dangerous because it is both time wasting, time and money wasting too, the organization. It sends a signal that one is not willing to contribute back to the company. Then it paints a picture of one being disloyal, unreliable, and therefore unemployable. Let me say professional and personal relationships do suffer, and it raises questions about one's mental stability. Let me see how many points we have managed to raise here. We have 1, we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And it is usually 20 marks, which means we are almost safe. You know, when you write down the summary, unfortunately, when you are in an exam, you don't have all the time to do what I am doing, to even count. It does not mean that every passage has 20 points, but a passage where points are so naked and there are so many, my dear, they have to be 20. There are passages that are dry, but a dry passage will, in most cases, take the question explained, such that the point and the explanation fetches you 2 marks. And if there are 10 there, that is how we make the 20. So you realize here we already have the 20. Now let us also check ourselves. Do we have, or are we working within the word limit that was given to us? Remember, we are supposed to present the summary in 110 words. So we go and count. Much as I am using my rough copy, I don't have space to write out the final copy very well. But I am checking before I even produce the final copy. And I wrote my rough copy in full sentences. Some of you have a tendency of writing the rough copy while bulleting the points. If you bullet the points and you do not give them the body, it becomes a little hard for you in the final copy to do that, because instead of checking yourself whether you are within the word limit, you will have the task of giving flesh to the skeletons of points that you bulleted when you are writing down your rough copy. So it is advisable you present your rough copy in form of a paragraph like we have done, in full sentences like we have done. So when we go back here, we count. Let us count the words and see. This is 1. Job hobbing is 1 word because it is carrying a hyphen. They are not 2 words. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So which means the 120 words end at the 110 words end there. And the question is saying, in not more than. If the question was saying in about, if it is about, we give an allowance of 5 more, because about means around that, not exactly. But if they say in not more than 110, we do not have to exceed 110. The words don't even have to be 111. If you write 111, they are going to leave out the last word, and therefore the last statement will not be a full statement, and it is going to lead to your loss of marks. Now, how many words do we have as X's here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Which means now we have to go back and ensure that we trim down our presentation and make sure the 10 are not there. When you are removing the 10, it does not mean that you go and remove the point. Look at what you have written down and then see the words that you can do away with and still have your points in your presentation. Now we have a task here of ensuring that the 10 words do go. So we get down and see how are we going to let the 10 words go. Go back to the presentation. People job home because they have a network of friends in the corporate world. When I look at that first statement, as an individual, I feel there is nowhere I can touch. Otherwise, I will have affected the sentence and it will not make sense. So, they quit because the job does not meet their expectations. They have friends in the corporate world. And so why don't we remove they quit because? And then say, people job home because they have a network of friends in the corporate world. And the job does, or we use comma. The job does not meet their expectations or is seen as boring. It will work. So we cut out 1, 2, 3. Remove full stop, use comma. People job home because they have friends in the corporate world, comma. The job does not meet their expectations or is seen as boring, second comma. Intimidation or harassment which affects them socially and psychologically, full stop. So we have now removed how many words? 3. So we now have 7 to go. So we have ended here. People job home because they do not know what they actually want. Did not know what they were getting into and were therefore not prepared for challenges. Look at that sentence. Do we have any area that we can cut out? People job home because they do not know what they actually want. What actually is very important. You cannot say people job home because you want to cut out words and then you say people job home because they do not know what they want. The writer is saying what they actually want. So this is a key word we cannot run away from. My hands are tied as far as this sentence is concerned. I have a feeling I cannot touch anything there. People job home because they do not know what they actually want. Did not know what they were getting into. And were therefore not prepared for challenges. Full stop. Let us leave that one untouched. We move on. Some find it exciting. And they are therefore not prepared for challenges. Now realize here, when we have and, you cannot use and here and then use a comma here. It has to be a full stop like we did. So you cannot connect this to cut it short to this one because you use the and here, which marks that the sentence is coming to an end. So we say, because it is, no, we are here. Some find it exciting. Some find it exciting and adventurous. Some find it exciting and adventurous. What if we do this? Did not know what they were getting into, comma, and where such that we use a comma here, we remove the and. We are therefore not prepared for. Which one? And therefore, yes, we remove the where. Good. We also remove the where towards here. Where, therefore, we are not prepared for challenges. But remember, here we shall employ and to end the issue of reasons. The and will come and we remove some. And find it exciting. We cannot have and find it exciting and adventurous. This and can be there to join the point. And find it exciting and adventurous. That means we have removed one word. We have 6 words to go because we have added. So we come here, exciting and adventurous. So we say job hopping is dangerous. Job hopping is dangerous because it is both time wasting. It is dangerous. Job hopping is dangerous because it is time and money wasting to the organization. Now here we cannot run away to the organization because if we do not indicate, it might appear that it is time and money wasting to the individual. So the organization here is needed. To the organization, sends a signal that one is not willing to contribute. Sends a signal of one not willing to contribute back into the company. It paints a picture of one being disloyal. It also makes one disloyal. What if we say it also makes one disloyal? Then we come here. How many words were there? The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we are changing to 1, 2, 3, 4. Which means 3 words have gone. So now we are remaining with how many? 3. So we say it also makes one disloyal and unreliable, therefore not employable. Now 3 words to go. Professional and personal relationships suffer and raises questions about your mental stability. Now instead of saying and raises questions about your mental stability, we say, we remove and say raising. We say raising questions about one's mental stability. 2 words. Now we have 2 words to do what? To go. We have sweated and sweated and sweated, but we still have to remove how many words? So that we can stick to 110 words. So, unfortunately, I do not have response of you to help me move the words. Yes. Yeah. It is. Yeah. Somebody is helping me here, saying we remove, it is both. We remove the word both. Now we have 1 word to go. We have 1 word to go to work within the 110. Do not tell lies when your words are more. And because they have said 110, you very much know they are more than 110. And you stupidly indicate here 110. I am telling you, people sit down and practically count the words the way I was counting them, 1 by 1. And whether you like it or not, they will get you. And in the examination, every script, for every script there, the number of words are counted. It is not a matter of sampling, but practically counting the number of words for every candidate there. So do not be corrupted into telling lies here. You have to exhibit a high level of sincerity. Here you have to be religious as possible. So now we have a problem of only 1 word. But that one word can be easy. We can twist around and remove. Because of friends, because of people job hop, because of a network of friends. No, you cannot do that. Struggle with the one word. We have sweated with the 9. I think now it is up to you to struggle with the one word. So I think you can do that and ensure that you have written the summary the way it is supposed to be. I don't know whether you are with me, moving with me, and working out the summary just like we have done. And I hope now that you have the summary and we have hinted at this area, you have scribbled that summary down for trial, because writing the summary and learning how to deal with it is not a very easy task, but it looks very easy. But with a high level of commitment and practice, it becomes a very simple thing. You need a lot of practice here if you are to get into exactly what you're supposed to do. So do not look at the passage and leave it there. Go ahead and work it out and ensure you have done exactly what we have done, as a means of checking yourself whether you can handle the task or not. So we have only 3 minutes remaining, and I think I would invite questions. If somebody has questions here, then you can ask. You can ask the questions. I haven't seen the chat from here. I can't see questions. I hope people have questions, and you ask the questions in the remaining 2 minutes. We have decided to look at summary writing because all along we had abandoned it, and it is very important and we need to keep on practicing. Bearing in mind that you have QBs back home, I hope you are practicing the summary writing to ensure that you keep on track and even learn more on this task of summary writing. Somebody is asking, teacher, can we exceed by 2 words 4 or below? No. When I say the question says in not more than 110, there are 4. We have to be exact. If this question was in about, then you would exceed with the 2 words that you're talking about or 4. But again, even when you exceed, if the question is about, you don't go above 5 words. So I think now, somebody says, is it okay to give explanations in summary writing? Nant again, no. This is summary writing. The question is not saying explain. Our question here is saying summarize. And indeed, we are summarizing. I said as we go on, remember we are at the start of summary writing. We shall look at questions that require you to explain. And then we shall see what you have to do if the task requires us to explain and not to summarize, much as it is under the summary writing as a topic. Even when we explain, when it is under summary writing, then it means that we are summarizing. We have limits as far as our presentation is concerned. Kuba is asking, I think I have answered the questions here. Sebiondo was the one asking about the words. I've explained as far as the words are concerned. Sebiondo, keep practicing. Check the words I say. Here in the summary questions, they will either say in about 110 words. About exceeds with 5. If they say in not more than, then we have to be exact 110. If they say in not less, in not more than, even in not more than, in not less than. We don't have in not less than, but it is in not more than or in about. And we have seen what we are supposed to do the moment the phrasing of the task is in that kind of manner. I hope we have benefited from the task. We meet next time. We have run short of time. I actually wish you the best. Keep practicing the